What up, this is Rama Screen covering movies, TV, and entertainment, and here's my review of Marvel's new series, Cloak and Dagger. Let's rock this. First up, I'd like to say thank you to Marvel Television, Disney, and Freeform specifically for granting me the screeners to the first two episodes of this new show. I admit, I actually knew nothing about Cloak and Dagger, the comic book characters. I didn't read them growing up, so I researched them a bit prior to screening these episodes. And let's just say that you should expect significant differences, which in this case are not a bad thing. The writers of this show revamp the characters' origin stories for very good reasons. One of which is to make things more timely and relevant, which I think is a wise move on their part. Without revealing plot points, Olivia Holt plays Tandy Bowen and Aubrey Joseph plays Tyrone Johnson, two teenagers from very different backgrounds who find themselves burdened by and awakened to newly discovered superpowers that are linked to one another. Now that's the general plot synopsis in a nutshell, but I assure you there's more to it than that. Some of the things that the showrunner and the writers did to make the characters speak more to our time compared to the comic books is, well, among them is that the show tackles issues of racism and police brutality by placing Tyrone within those dilemmas, even though he grows up in a pretty comfortable upper middle class family. Whereas the other character, Tandy, has been rebellious and has been a runaway for quite some time after a certain tragedy which I will not reveal here. And so Tandy's life in these two episodes pretty much consists of two things: hustling to survive and solving the mystery surrounding said tragedy. In the comic books, at least from what I've read, it sounds like both teenagers are runaways, and then they become friends, and then they team up to fight drug lords. Well, it's not that quite simple on this show. And it's not for the sake of milking it or an excuse to have 10 episodes. The build-up is there so that the characters could have the same ups and downs and angst that any teenager would go through, even though most teenagers don't have superpowers. But that goes to my next point. It's one of the many things that I like about this show, is that they prioritize on humanizing Tandy and Tyrone first. Because once you've successfully done that, once you've opened the door and welcomed people in, then the revelations of the superpowers that come along the way becomes some sort of a nice companion piece rather than just, present them as superpowered teens and then shove human dramas down in there somehow. Speaking of which, I really like how this show slowly but surely reveals their superpowers. It's done in a teenage puberty adolescent kind of way. Suddenly you're realizing that your body is changing, your voice is changing, you're growing hair in places all over. It's kind of like that. It's kind of like a kid confused about their changing sexuality. That's how the writers of this show approach the aspect of Tandy and Tyrone being surprised by their abilities and hopefully ultimately coming to terms with them. In the first episode in particular, which by the way was well directed by Gina Prince Bythewood, we've seen other superhero shows or movies where the heroes have trouble controlling their powers. Well, in Cloak and Dagger, not only do those things happen frequently, but also those instances have unexpected lethal consequences. By the way, if you're wondering what they can do, Tyrone can teleport himself, like some kind of a jumper from one place to the next, usually by covering himself with some sort of a cloak, while Tandy can unleash a crystal light dagger that can do both healing and otherwise. The first two episodes are a bit of a slow burn with occasional intense moments, but clearly the writers are taking their time, understandably so. There are moments that feel like music videos or a montage with popular songs in the background. Some of the songs sound electronica, kind of like that collabo of Electric Youth and College for the song A Real Hero a few years back. Usually, with teen dramas like this, the song would play at the end of every episode when the characters face some sort of an epiphany right before the end credits roll. But in Cloak and Dagger, those moments happen 2 or 3 times in the middle instead. Let's talk about the two lead actors real quick. I think Olivia Holt does a wonderful job as Tandy, and the same goes for Aubrey Joseph as Tyrone. Aubrey may not be as famous as Olivia yet, but this show will make him crazy popular easily. I love how these actors' ages are not far off from the characters they play. By that I mean usually when Hollywood casts actors to play teenagers, those actors usually are already way in their mid-20s. Now, Olivia and Aubrey may not necessarily be exactly teenagers anymore. They just got past that age range, so they could still relate to it. And so the teenage audiences, the demographics, or the base that watches Freeform can relate to them as well. Olivia exudes strength and confidence, even when her character feels unsure and frustrated. Olivia manages to embody those emotions with such ease. Aubrey is like a mystery box that you can't wait to open and kind of peel its layers, mainly because you haven't seen him much in anything else prior to this. So Aubrey is revealing his range as he goes in the most dynamic way that you would want to follow his journey from one episode to the next. So many issues are brought up in just these first 2 episodes. Not only racism and police brutality, but also things that teenagers go through, like crushes or breakups, getting beat up by your peers, or breaking the rules, even tensions and arguments with your parents. I know a lot of people will probably point out the whole interracial relationship aspect, which I personally don't think it's that big a deal anymore in this day and age. But hey, it's a big selling point for Cloak and Dagger. And you know what? It's totally fine. If Marvel wants to if Marvel wa- if Marvel and Freeform want to take pride in that and bring that to the front, if Marvel and Freeform want if Marvel and Freeform want to take pride in that and bring that to the front, then kudos to them. I'm sure the writers will give us that road to that blossoming romance soon enough. But back to the dramas just in these first 2 episodes. They remind me a lot of the dramas presented in Marvel's other series, Runaways, on Hulu, in that the teen angst feels real, genuine, and organic as opposed to cheesy and forced. By the way, oh my god, I would love it if someday, if possible, there could be some sort of a crossover between Cloak and Dagger and Runaways, where all those characters collide and they team up or something. That would be awesome. But it's too soon to call. In conclusion, to make this simple, I think it's safe to say that if you enjoyed Marvel's Runaways series on Hulu, then you're gonna enjoy Cloak and Dagger just fine. The characters and the story are intriguing. The actors and their performances are fresh. This new show is exhilarating. You can't wait to see what happens in the subsequent episodes. And your patience as you go on this journey with Tandy and Tyrone as they learn to discover themselves will ultimately pay off. I guarantee it. So that's it. That's my review of Marvel's new series Cloak and Dagger, the first 2 episodes. Share your thoughts in the comment section below. Share this video with all your friends on the YouTube verse. And as always, subscribe to my channel and ring the notification bell in the corner right there so you can get notified whenever I post new videos. And if you can support this channel by throwing me a few bucks, please do so at patreon.com/ramascreen. That's patreon.com/ramascreen. Sign up there today and become my patrons. Let's rock this.